Welcome, everyone. This is so awesome to have everyone here. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to my friend Max for a minute.
Most excellent. Okay, so you'll probably notice that today's lab at home is just a little bit different. And one of the ways that today's lab at home is different is that I am going to be reading our lab at home behavioral expectations. So our learning process is all about respect. Respect for ourselves, each other, and our world. We ask all of you to show respect by using kind language and appropriate words in the chat box, as this is a program for everyone. As always, I am moderating the chat and can disable the chat function for individual users if that's needed, which we don't think it will be. That said, it's okay to disagree or share your feelings. We welcome all ideas that are founded in respect and invite all of you to do the same. When we have the lab on site, we encourage our learners to lead with their questions and ideas. So I'll be asking you plenty of questions and hope you will share your ideas and your own questions as much as possible in the chat. So today, as part of our summer bug out celebration, this lab at home is a little bit different. My very first question for today's lab at home is, what do you notice about the room Peregrine and our special guest are standing, or I guess sitting in?
What do you all notice about our space? Well, I hope that you can tell that I'm smiling under my mask. I am wearing a mask, which is different than normal broadcasting. Of course, that's because I have my special guest here. We have the suggestion, are we in a lab? Maybe we are at the museum. What makes you think that? What do you see? What kind of stuff do you see? A lot of jars. You are totally right. There are definitely a lot of jars. Those jars do a really important job, and we'll talk about some of that. That is an awesome observation. Let's see if we can get one more observation. Some experiment stuff. Oh, there's some buckets around. There are for sure a lot of holding devices, which makes sense because we are in the bug holding room in the Insectarium in the butterfly house at the museum. I'm here with the director of the butterfly house, Uli Hartman, who's going to be showing us around the bug holding room where all of the many of the specimens are right now. So can everyone say hi to Uli?
Hello all to you. I'm very happy that you all join us here in the back room where you normally will not go as a guest when you have been at the museum, which I'm sure all of you have been, right?
That's awesome. This is kind of a cool, like, behind the scenes look. What we'll do first is we'll just kind of take a look around at some of our different exotic specimens, meaning specimens from they're not from around locally. They're also longer-lived species, so maybe some of you haven't even seen them in programs before. So we'll look around the room, say hi to some of those species, and then we'll say hello to a few local species that, I don't know, maybe you guys haven't even seen before outside in some of your bug hunting adventures. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab our recording device, and I'm going to follow Uli around the room a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that camera. And there we go. I'm standing far enough away from Uli now that he can remove his mask.
So hello again. You are in the support room for the Insectarium. The Peregrine here with blue mud in the back, that's where all our exhibits are that you normally can enjoy and look at. We often take animals out for you that you can touch them, but most of them, for that purpose, live right back here in this room. And as you said, and you saw some of those, there are all these containers here on the shelf that have a lot of bugs in them. Some have only a single animal in it, like our tarantulas. This is a baby tarantula that is growing up to be one of our program tarantulas, hopefully in a year, 2 or 3. And she's really, you can see my finger here, really tiny.
Zoom in there.
But is already over a year old.
Do you all see her? What do you notice about her?
Maybe the color?
Ooh, what color do we see? It's a little hard to see on camera, but it has to do with her name. And it looks like her name is Rosalie.
Yes.
What do you think? Oh, we have someone saying that she's very cute. She does almost have some reddish, pinkish legs. She's definitely, yep, she's pretty tiny. She's got some light patches on her, kind of on her legs there. And that's because she is what species of tarantula?
So this is one of our rose-haired tarantulas. So when they get bigger, and I can show you that too, there's Rosalinda here.
She's one of my favorites.
And these guys have to be locked up because some of them are strong enough that they can push up the lid. So that's why they're snapped on. And here is one of the adult rose-haired tarantulas.
Oh my goodness, she is so beautiful.
You can see that the bag of her is actually also a copper color.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just feeling around, see, hi there, high five. See the world and get entertained a little bit here.
We had a really good, oh, go ahead.
Uli and Peregrine, somebody mentioned antennas. Does our friend the rose-haired tarantula have antennas?
Well, in practice, yeah, but they're not looking like antennas. Some of these front legs here aren't actually real legs. They're either mouth parts or I don't think they're real antennas, but they serve for the same purpose. They feel, they touch, they explore. But how many legs do spiders have? You guys all know that, right?
I bet you do. Yeah, exactly. Oh, exactly, you guys. Arachnids have 8 legs, but yeah, we see those extra 2 at the top there. That's a really good.
So it really looks like 10 legs, doesn't it?
Uli, we're getting a lot of questions about whether or not she will bite.
Will she bite me? Hopefully not. She can bite. Tarantulas can bite with a venom. And Peregrine will talk a little more about the local species that you should be a little careful with. And these guys would bite if I were a tiny little cricket and if she were hungry. The defense mechanism usually is not to bite. Just like you don't bite me, or Peregrine behind the camera here will not bite me just because I'm in her face. She will be biting if I really squeeze her. So I'm not afraid that she's on my hand now. But as I said, she's exploring. She's enjoying probably being out of the box a little bit. And she's not threatened by me. So it'll be safe.
And if she does, so her venom is also kind of comparable to bee venom. It's sort of like a bee sting. It wouldn't be something fatal unless you were allergic.
Right. I mean, it'll hurt, yes. None of my people, I have never been bitten by a tarantula in the 20 years almost that I'm here. So we have this species because he's friendly, or they're usually friendly and docile. There's some other tarantulas which we don't have on the shelf and show for programs that are much more aggressive, and they might actually bite quicker than this spider, but we don't have them. And this one would hurt a little bit, but would not do any harm to me, really.
We had someone commenting that we can, if we want to look at some other guys, we certainly can, but as we're putting her away, I wanted to acknowledge someone mentioned that she's very hairy, and she is very hairy. One of her defense mechanisms are some of her hairs.
There she was.
Oh,
Can you see these little, no, those little black tips at the end?
Uh-huh.
Those are the spinnerets.
Oh, those are her spinnerets, which she uses to spin her ground webs. And I see a little bit of web over there. We had a great question about where they are native to, and that would be Chile, South America. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, and as someone just mentioned in the chat, they use their hairs, they can flick their hairs off almost like porcupine's quills, and those are very itchy and irritating to the skin. So she spent a lot of time and energy making her venom, so she doesn't want to use it on something that's not food. She would much rather run away or hide or use her hairs if she had to. Let's see who else we had. I wanted to check out maybe our Goliath beetle.
Ooh, the biggest beetle. We only, what is he?
He's on the top.
Yeah, actually, Mackenzie was one of our entomologists. She reared him. And look how beautiful this guy is.
Oh my gosh, he is huge. What do you guys notice about him? What an amazing, amazing
Yes.
beetle.
All that you should know about him. Well, remember.
See, I'm not sure if the camera will focus on that one. But yeah, we noticed that he has kind of this reddish hue, this beautiful design on the top here. We see that maybe it resembles patterns on a plant. I think that's a really good observation. That is kind of what that top part reminds me of. What do these guys eat? What do they like to eat, Uli?
Most beetles eat just some rotten plant material or fruit. So this particular guy gets banana. And the mushier it is, the more they like it. This is pretty yucky looking, but that's when they really love to eat it. So all our big beetles that are back here get banana every day, wherever the day they get a new fresh piece. Eat this one, or we have some other big stag beetle here.
Ooh.
They do the same.
Can we say hello to the stag beetle as well?
Sure. This, by the way, is one of the guys that you better put a rock on the top because he's so strong he can lift this off if we don't pay attention.
Wow, so he might try to escape.
He did that one. He did that one. So stag beetles. And again, this whole room is full of these bugs to either go on exhibit or for programs, the birthday parties, for summer camp, for something, school groups coming to come out and say hello to people and for you to study and admire. So this is the giant stag beetle.
What a beautiful beetle. What do we notice about this one, my friends? I'm gonna get a little closer. Zoom in a little. We notice the color is black. Very nice, exactly.
You see the pinches.
Ooh.
And he's also very strong. So if he gets my finger, that already pinches. And
Yeah.
that one I talk of experience.
So you have been pinched before, but I see that you were very quick and didn't have to worry about that there. We had some questions about, yeah, would this beetle pinch? And the answer is yes. Is that mostly how they defend themselves?
They fight and argue with each other with them. They defend themselves, yes.
And maybe it's mostly showing off how healthy they are and how
But
strong.
again, he only eats banana. He does not want to eat anything that he catches with these big pinches.
That is beautiful. Could we take a quick look at the Atlas beetle as well?
The Atlas beetle.
Ooh, we had a really good question about do male and female beetles look the same? That's a great question. So
no is the
yeah.
answer. Because a lot of insects you can't tell, but with beetles in particular, you can tell. The big guys are guys, and the female they will be much smaller. Here it is.
So beetles are a very dimorphic species, meaning that the males and females look very different. This is a very large beetle. I know that when I was first being trained on using these beetles for programs, I thought what I should worry about are the horns, right, up there. But I learned that a little more dangerous is this space behind him. Do you guys see where his head meets his abdomen? He has a very hard shell and he's so strong that if he gets jostled or touched in the wrong way, he will kind of snap his head back and pinch with that little joint. And that's something that would definitely not feel good. That's a little bit more dangerous.
No, we don't have too much time, but look at these claws.
Wow.
That's, well, it really holds tight. Like fish hook.
It looks kind of like a triceratops. That's awesome. I love that connection. I was wondering if we could show them what's kind of at the back wall here.
The back wall,
Back
right
wall.
there. So first, yes, I say they're getting only a little bit of banana over to the back, but we have to go in every day and feed them. And here's a bunch of leaves that we cut down. We also have to clean the environment so that it doesn't develop bacterium or some other bad stuff that we most have to survive in. The regular rat bugs are more low supply. Somebody said we're looking like a lab. This we have a few different things. And then we have a lot of crops down here that we put in tanks to make sure that they have something to climb on, or that we can put food in, and that sort of thing.
We had someone asking, oops, I'm going to move right over here. We had someone asking if they always stay in their little boxes. Do they stay in their boxes? It sounds like they get new mulch and leaves, and sometimes they go out on exhibit. Is that right?
That is right. The ones that go on programs, like those bigger beetles, much longer than we would like. But don't forget, in real life, they would live under a log and would likely not come out for days on end either. The beetle larva that we have in this part here, for 6 months. Longer than this now. It's close to a year now. The light of the day much, and I'm not sure if we can see one of them, but they just bury it in there, and eventually will pupate, and then they come out as one of these guys.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the beetle life cycle, and we'll get a close-up look at some different beetles in different places in their life cycle. But I wondered if we could kind of see our last friends over here. These are some amazing specimens.
Some of the really pretty ones and big ones. These are also from Malaysia, like a lot of these beetles were. Our
Wow.
Stag insects. And to answer that question a little further, if they stay in there, they have fairly large space to be in there, but every now and then they do get taken out for a program, or they go on exhibit.
What a beautiful color. And those are some big, big antennae. Wow.
So these are Malaysian thorny stick insects.
So they're a thorny stick insect, and we've had people saying that it does look like a plant. It looks kind of like a leaf. That is a great observation. I love that. Yeah, look at that. It's full. Would that be an abdomen or a thorax? That looks like a leaf here.
This part?
This segment, yeah.
That's the abdomen.
Oh, so his abdomen is very leaf-like. And we have some suggestions about leaf bugs. Do we have any leaf bugs in this container, or are they all out on exhibits?
They are here, right next to this girl. Sorry.
Do you want me to take her?
She'll just keep lining up. Right now, you would be disappointed. Nobody on the exhibit. Come on, let's go. So it's a little easy to take care of them in the back. All right.
And it's all right if we can't get her off, because we do have a beautiful thorny stick insect on your back as well.
It makes hard to get off. So here is a much more classic leaf insect. And this is an adult, fully grown adult.
I'm gonna grab this guy here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this
Fine.
one off your.
She'll just climb around. She's not biting me. She's clamping down a little bit on
your shirt.
There
There we go.
I'm gonna put it back in, or
Yeah, let's go
or
ahead.
you just can compare them.
Ooh, that's
So
a great
here-
idea.
Look, she's holding on to everything. So on the left, is the stick insect that is a leaf insect. It's a whole group. And on the right is the stick insect that's the Malaysian thorny stick insect. And then we have some stick insect that are just thin like a pencil. They're really more like a stick.
So the thorny stick insect, and then that one is the leaf insect. Beautiful.
Uli and Peregrine, we had an excellent question whether or not either of them can fly.
Mine. Look how big this girl is. She has wings, but they're like a penguin, more like wing stubbles. So this girl is too big to fly. The males can fly. They're much thinner. They don't have all the eggs in their abdomen, and they can fly. Now, the leaf insects have some bigger wings, but I don't even think they fly at all, not even the males. But we don't have males at all.
You only have the females, right, of both of them, that's right.
Only have females of these guys. They don't need males to lay eggs, and they will turn into more females.
That is so, so cool. We have seen a lot of this amazing room where we keep our specimens. And I was thinking maybe we could take just a quick look at some insects that we can find in this room, but can also find right in our backyards, or approximately in our backyards. So as soon as we get...
Yeah, the tropical ones are always so shiny, big, and impressive, but we definitely have a lot of native bugs that you can find in your own backyard that are maybe smaller, but equally impressive and worth the study.
So I'm going to bring up one of our local species here. I'm going to grab this one here. This is a longhorn beetle. I'm going to find her here. Oh, I put her in a different enclosure. I'll show you in the enclosure right here. She's under there. I'm going to take her out and put her on my hands. Oh wait, this is our best beetle, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is still a beetle, but it is not the longhorn like I thought. This is our best beetle. What do you guys notice about her? What do you think? Yes, she is black. She is so shiny. She has kind of a hard shell. Yes, it's very ridged there. That's a great observation. I love her antenna, how they look. Would we call those clubbed antenna? Or are they something a little different? She has wings that are underneath her kind of hard shell, and hopefully she won't start flying. But I am going to give us just one more close look at her before we look at a few more. So this is a beetle, and beetle are some of the most diverse of the true insects, right? There are so many species of beetle, and more being discovered all the time. But I have a question for you all. When beetles are first born, what do they look like? Do they always look like this? Or do they look a little bit different? I'm going to go ahead and put her back. Ooh, that's exactly right, my friends. They do look very different. Just like butterflies, beetles metamorphose. So that means that they start off as something that looks pretty different. Oops, excuse us. Sorry about that. Here she is. No harm done. They start off looking like this guy right here. Their larval or grub form looks a little bit like this. They like to live in the dirt, and this one is a click beetle larva. And there are lots of different click beetles on our iNaturalist page. We can link that at the end if you want to see what their adult form looks like. This one is looking around for some food on my hands, and I'm afraid I don't really have any, so I might put them back. But you can see that there are lots of different segments in its body. Now, it still has the 6 legs, is that right?
They usually do, yes.
Yeah, so this
They
is
might have some additional
some
ones.
legs. So its legs are right in there, right at the front of its body, and the back of its body just kind of wiggles behind it, and I think that's kind of fun. So it starts off as a larva, like this, sort of like a butterfly starts off as a caterpillar, and it likes to live in the dirt and digs in there, sort of like the elephant larva we talked about earlier. And then it turns into a pupa, right? So it kind of has a little, see in there? No. So it kind of has a little cocoon, and it changes its state and becomes an adult beetle, just like the ones we've been seeing today. So longhorn beetles are some that we can find near us. We can also find spotted beetles around us. There are purple gland beetles near us. Oh, do we have some pupas here?
This was the pupa of that Goliath beetle.
Whoa, so that really big one. Wow, so it looked like this big pod. And here was what that looks like inside. Is this a molt, or is this one who is not able to survive?
No, it did not develop in the egg properly, so it did not come out.
Okay. But
that's what they look like.
When they're in the ground, they look like these big pods. Wow, that's amazing. I never would have thought. Oh, they do look like a little egg. That's really neat. And that's where the beetle would be. Kind of like a cocoon. That is really amazing. Beetles are some of my favorites, but I had 2 more species that I wanted to show us who are local just before we're out of time today. I wanted to show you 2 spider species. Now, they are not as large as the tarantulas that we saw earlier, but they definitely have a punch in terms of their venom. Here's one here. I don't know how well you can see her. Do you guys have any idea about what this species of spider might be? I'll show you the top. A little hard to see here, but she has a pattern on her abdomen. Yeah, you guys are exactly right. This is a black widow. So in here, oh, that's a good shot. There. So she has a very large abdomen. And this is a black widow here. And I also have one of her cousins, a brown widow. And we'll see if we can see her here. There she is. And I was looking, it sounds like the main difference between a black and a brown widow is that the abdomen of the brown widow is maybe a little bit lighter, and it has a slightly different pattern. It's a little hard to see the pattern on her abdomen. But I know that when I was younger, I was always very worried about coming across a black widow and getting bitten by a black widow who we know have very dangerous venom. But when I came to the museum, I learned a lot more about these guys and learned about how they don't like to be around people. They're not very aggressive spiders. They like to keep to themselves. And there's actually very few incidents of people being bitten, right? As long as we are leaving them alone, we can observe them, let them go back to their lives. And that is the majority of the very peaceful interactions between people and black widows. I also learned that their venom is not kind of immediately deadly. It's not something where it bites you and you immediately die. In fact, there have been no black widow related deaths since 1983. So not for a long time. So if a bite is left untreated from this is a brown widow, from a black widow, then it can be deadly, but it sounds like it's mostly just, it doesn't feel very good. It definitely hurts. But it sounds like everyone who's been bitten in the US by a black widow spider has recovered. So, this is a good question. I wanted to see this question about brown widows. Yes, so there is the black widow, like this one, and then the brown widow right here. So they're cousins. The brown widows do not have as much, their venom is not as toxic as a black widow's venom. And the main difference would be in the pattern on their abdomen, the pattern that's underneath. And you can't really see hers very well, but that's something that has been very well documented that we could always look at. So I just thought that it was cool to check out some of these spiders. I think they're pretty misunderstood. You know, I always think about them as being really scary, but in fact, they're just animals like any other who like to live their lives in solitude largely, and are mostly not very dangerous to humans because we mostly never see them. So we've had a look at, we've had kind of a behind the scenes look at the bug holding room. Uli has held some bugs with us today, and we have seen a lot of different species, and we saw a few local species and talked really quickly about the life cycle of beetles, which is kind of like the life cycle of a butterfly, in that they metamorphose. We also took a look at some kind of misunderstood but very beautiful spiders. And I really, really enjoyed everything we have seen here today, Uli. I wanted to thank you so much for being here.
Most welcome. Happy to have you. That's what our bugs are for.
The bugs are here to educate. That is wonderful. I want to thank you all for coming today. I'm going to go ahead and put this back down so we can get back in the frame. I want to thank all of you for coming today, for your amazing observations and thoughts and ideas and questions. This has been so much fun to share with you all. Who did I hear that we had a birthday? Happy birthday to whoever's birthday was. Was that Felicity? Wonderful. That is so wonderful. We miss you all too, and we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. But I know at least on Lab at Home, we will see you all next week on Wednesday at 2 p.m. We will look forward to learning more about different kinds of pollinators, and we're going to have our friend Dr. Eleanor Spicer-Rice back on to talk to us as well. Talk about all of our experiences during the summer bug out. So again, thank you all so much. I know we went a little over, but thank you so much for being here and for all your amazing ideas. We will see you all later.
I'm back soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye, friends.